understands us, who's a co-sponsor of these bills, and more importantly, he's a part of change, and he works towards building coalitions, and has made a national call for moral revival. And that is the Honorable Assemblyman Demond Meeks.
Don't forget that.
I think I owe you a check for that awesome introduction. I'm so excited. Assemblyman Demond Meeks, representing the 137th Assembly District, proud sponsor and advocate to end mandatory minimums. In this role, we as state officials, as legislators, we actually have the right to go into our state facilities at any given period of time, show our ID, and have an opportunity to tour these facilities. And I want to take pride in doing so. Like brother Gant mentioned, the least of these brothers and sisters, and I've been intentional to go into these facilities to see what the challenges are. Because when we talk about individuals being incarcerated, we often hear rehabilitation, and we have to go into these facilities and see what the challenges are and be intentional in hearing from individuals as well as their families. As it relates to ending mandatory minimums, every individual, every situation has a different background. And I often think to the young man in the family in which I met. The young man was on his way to a Division I basketball program and happened to be pulled over in a vehicle. 3 others jumped out the car and run, and there happened to be a pistol in the vehicle. Now this individual, an academic scholar, had a great life ahead of him. However, due to mandatory minimums, had to do 5 years in prison. And I don't think that serves this community. I don't think that truly serves justice. And I think that if judges had the discretion in this space, it would equate better outcomes and it would assure justice. Individuals like this young man could have possibly been connected with the right mentors to ensure that he continued his education and an opportunity to go to school on a full scholarship and not just change his future outcome, but change the trajectory of generations to come. So when we look at these challenges, we know that they further perpetuate poverty. And this is a way to change the narrative and also change community outcomes.
That's right.
So we're committed to this legislation because in turn we know that it restores and rebuilds our community. And something else that I looked at in this role, in traveling the state and going into different facilities, you find that there's a common practice of the state to take an individual who was convicted of a crime in Rochester and ship them to Gouverneur or 6 to 8 hours away from this community. And then they'll take an individual who was convicted of a crime in New York City and ship them to Attica or somewhere closer to Rochester. And I think when we look at the resources and the ability to house individuals, what's so hard about sending an individual up the road from where they live so that they can actually have a relationship of sorts? And I'm convinced that these practices are absolutely intentional. You put people away from their families can't afford to communicate or in prison with them, and it continues to further destroy families. So I just want to say thank you to the advocates who are committed to this work. You really inspire me and encourage me to continue to persevere because I'm from this community, I'm of this community, I know the challenges that exist, and we have to be intentional and fighting a good fight, causing good trouble when necessary, and doing the right thing by our brothers and sisters. Thank you. Can you wait till-
Well, I was just gonna say, maybe speak to all the folks coming here together to advocate for this. Could you do that real quick?
Yes.
I mean, what does this do for their cause?
I mean, it uplifts the cause. When we look at state government, the way we get things done more often than not is coalition building. And the more community members that we can get actively engaged in the process, the more effective we are in doing this work. I'm proud to say that we did this this year. It seemed like last year, but this year we were able to pass legislation regarding fair access to victims' compensation.
All right.
We did that by coalition building across the state. We recognize that some of the same challenges that are taking place in the boroughs of New York City take place in Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, as well as some of our rural communities. So that's how we coalition build. We have individuals represented, and just like we hold this type of press conference here, similar press conferences in other parts of the state as well. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayes. Now what we want to also do is hear from family members and loved ones of those that are incarcerated. Because as I said before, our theme today is Radiant Hope. And that hope is we want people on the inside to know that you haven't been forgotten. But more importantly, the family members that's left behind. We haven't forgotten you either. So we actually have a directly impacted person who today is going to speak about her loved one who's incarcerated. Latasha.
So I want to first thank the Honorable Damon Meeks for being here. Really appreciate that, and everyone behind me. I am a newly member of CCA, and I'm speaking on behalf and advocating for my loved one, Romel. I grew up with Romel. Romel is a father, he's a son, and he's a brother. Romel is a strong Black man, ready and willing, and able to give life into his community. He has been incarcerated since the age of 18 years old, okay? And he has been inside for the past 20 years. Romel is a prime example of why the Second Look Act must be passed now. The Second Look Act will allow incarcerated people such as my loved one to petition for resentencing and permit judges to revisit and reduce his sentence. Romel is currently at Elmira Correctional Facility with a life sentence. He has earned his GED, he has taken parenting courses, he has attended both barbering and welding vocational programs. He has received certificates in food service, weightlifting, boxing, football, all while facilitating inmate organizations as the chairperson of Inmate Liaison Committee. Romel currently has no opportunity to demonstrate to a judge that he has truly changed after decades in prison and has so much to offer our communities on the outside. Romel is fighting for a second chance at life. He aspires to work with the youth in training and in boxing, and to be here at rallies like these as a member of Center for Community Alternatives. Romel will contribute by being a voice for his incarcerated brothers and sisters.
All right.
He has a stable foundation to return home to and a strong interest in welding.
That's right.
He plans to give back to his community by providing free haircuts, tutoring, and being a strong mentor to the youth.
That's right.
So it is time to undo the generations of harm that came from the Tough on Crime Act, passed back in the 70s and the 90s. The Second Look Act is one step that can get us there.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. And I also want to commend you and honor you for the strength that you have. And not just Natasha, but many other family members and loved ones who are left behind and who are asking for their family members and loved ones to be restored. So thank you for your strength and courage to even step up and speak about this. So next, what I want to do is bring up another directly impacted person so he can share his story. His story is not unique and it's not an anomaly. So there's a lot of other people who would benefit from things like mandatory minimums, having a second look at, and the Earned Time Act. We're talking about changing prison culture. We're talking about having safe communities. Well, it begins with these bills because if people can have hope on the inside to change, to become more productive, then they'll come home and make our community safer. That's right. Talking about credible messengers, violence interrupters, and a lot of the great work that our friend Shaka Moxley is actually doing
That's
right now.
right, Chuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, thank you everyone for showing up in support of this activity that we got going on today. I want to just get straight to the point. Mass incarceration in America is the new slavery. And everyone that you see here today are abolitionists. We want our people free. We
That's right.
understand and we know there's much proof out there that everything that has happened from the 1970s in the prison industrial system has been intentional, and it's been intentional towards black and brown people.
Say
And that these things are unjust to our communities. So what we're advocating for right here are actually crime bills. These are the things that when we put into legislation, that's gonna stop the recidivism, it's gonna stop the crime that goes on in our neighborhood, it's gonna end the poverty that happens in our neighborhood.
That's
So
right.
I like to tell you my personal story. I've done 27 years in prison, and 27 years a slave. And during that time, I had the opportunity in the prison system to go to BAR College Initiative, Prison Initiative, which is a college in prison that opened my eyes to different things, allowed me to come out here into the society, get gainful employment, and now help the individuals that were in my type of situation. As he said, I'm a violence interrupter. I deal with brothers that are active shooters in our society, in our community in Rochester, New York. We engage them, we give them information, we try to help them become productive members of society, because too many times we don't have individuals, right, engaging these people. We're too scared of them, right? So we don't have anybody going to them, seeing if they need housing, seeing if they need mental health help. So this is one of the things I do. I know the brother Romel. I met the brother Romel in prison when he was 18 years old, and I was still young man. I was still like 32, I believe. And another brother, Aaron Thomas. And this always, every time I look at the Second Look Act, I always think about these two brothers, because these are very strong young men who could be productive individuals in our society, who could be leaders in our society, and who are authentic. Who, when they go to the people in the streets, the people know that they're real dudes, that they're not going to sell them out, and that they're going to help them out a lot. You know, so we want to support these laws, and we want our community to support these laws, because it's already there. The evidence is already there. These laws are unjust, and they're unfair, and they cause nothing but oppression to our community. I also want to do a personal thanks to Damon Meeks. He's our personal champion. Everywhere I'm at, he's at. And I'm in the places that most politicians don't want to go. Like every time I turn around, this brother is there. And this is what we need. We need to put our votes behind individuals that support our movement, support our community, and support justice.
Yeah.
People
Appreciate it.
tissue, not politicians.
Communities,
Not cages,
community,
not cages,
community.
not cages.
Thank you, and that's what we want to do, and that's what these bills will actually do, help invest properly in our communities. I want to go this out there right quick as well. So it costs approximately $70,000 to house a person a year in prison. That's the problem. New York State and as a whole spends close to $3 billion a year to house and incarcerate our family members and loved ones. And today we're saying no more of that. We want to have these bills go forward, because not only will we bring our family members home, but more importantly, stop spending so much money on that and invest in our communities.
Right.
We can do that by supporting these bills, by making sure this gets out. When our loved ones come home, they can be productive taxpayers, right? Paying into their own communities and things of this nature. So these are some of the things that these bills will do. But without any further ado, what I'd like to bring up is another directly impacted leader in our community. He works hard to bring home our family members and loved ones, and another credible messenger, another violence interrupter, Jose De La Nova.
First, I just want to say thank you to CCA for having this event, Thomas for hosting, Mom Meeks for coming out, those in the community everywhere we go, and most importantly, our community, because this effort would not be possible without the community. So Meeks can't do it alone, so we need to continue to support him. We need to continue to support these bills. My name is Jose De La Nova. I'm the Clemency Campaign Director for the Release Asian People in Prison, and I'm also directly impacted. I've served 26 years of incarceration, 18 of those years in Attica, from the age of 16 to 44 I was incarcerated.
That's a shame.
I will tell you that during my incarceration, I witnessed firsthand and experienced a lot of despair, a lot of suffering, a lot of violence, and a lot of hopelessness. And a lot of this is centered around the sentencing that we've been giving out for far too long. We handicap and handcuff judges to have discretion, enforce upon them a mandatory ideology that has not served our communities, that has actually decimated and destroyed our communities. That is an injustice, and we're not serving justice. We are
No.
not assisting our judges and our legal system to provide that justice. So we need to end this idea that mandatory sentences serves public safety. It is not.
That ain't right.
While incarcerated, a lot of individuals, myself included, were hopeful that some type of opportunity would come up, that we would get a second, that we would get a chance to be evaluated for what we've done while we were inside, for more than just what brought us to the prison. There are many individuals, first and foremost, we know that are innocent, that are incarcerated. We know statistically that 20% of those incarcerated are innocent. We know this through DNA evidence. We know this through appeal mechanisms. And we know that the number is far higher than that because they have not gotten a chance to get a second look. We need to ensure that these individuals have a second look. And even if they don't get a second look, provide them an opportunity that when they do their time, they can earn some good time.
Yes.
That there's a hope that while they do their programs, while they stay out of trouble, while they rehabilitate, that the sentence that has been mandatorily placed upon them, with some hope, can be reduced with good behavior and reform. We have to pass these measures. If you believe in redemption, if you believe in the possibility of second chances, if you believe in the opportunity of restoring hope and community, then these bills make sense. So come out, support, press your elected official to co-sponsor if they have not, and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. And I just wanna, before we close, just thank everybody for coming out and supporting. This is very important. And one of the things that we wanna do is, what do we do next? So we wanna encourage everybody here to start calling your lawmakers, whether it's emailing, phone calls, right? Passing the word in our community that there is hope. There is hope that we can bring our family members and loved ones home, but more importantly, we haven't forgotten the people who are left behind who are still struggling. Safe communities means investing in them, investing in us, especially our marginalized Black and brown community who have been hit with these racist and archaic sentencing laws and structures. It's time to change that. These bills will do that. I speak from empirical evidence. I'm formerly incarcerated as well. I did 25 years in prison. A host of accomplishment. I'm almost embarrassed to talk about the things that I've accomplished while I did in prison, right? But there's no mechanism to actually bring me home a lot sooner, so I can come home and be productive, doing the things that I'm doing right now. These bills give hope to our family members and loved ones, but more importantly, it says that we as a society, we see you. We understand. And restoration and redemption is important to all of us. So thank everybody for coming out. But before we close, what I'd like to do is take a little moment. Again, we have candles. I'd like everybody to take their candle and turn it on. What we want to do is twist the bottom. So it's fire safety.
And one more time, Thomas?
Yep.
Communities, activities?
Yes.
You wanna do that one more time?
Absolutely.
Too? I like it.